stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're Drive-In Theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is not Monday night. It's Wednesday night. It is May 21st, 2025. You are tuned into the Drive-In Speakerbox podcast. I am your host, Bo the Boom Operator.
I am Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we are here. We are a couple days late. I'm sorry. There was tornadoes in the area on Monday.
In our town.
On the outskirts of our town. But in our town nonetheless. It was kind of it was an intense day for a lot of people, but we're here in the studio now because we have to talk to you about movies. That's what we do. That's our expertise. That's our calling in life. It's the way that we get rid of our free time that we have on Monday nights and now Wednesday afternoons.
We have free time?
No, we don't. But we're here. This is a responsibility to you, the people, the populace. We want to entertain you. We want to gift you with our expansive knowledge of movies and pop culture and insanity, because we have wasted so much of our life on content that we want to make sure that you have informed decisions when you are going to the theater. So welcome in, welcome up. We're drinking some bourbon. I did a little bit of celebration this week from some local stuff. If those of you guys that watch through all the time or know me personally, this is what a week it's been. But tonight we're going to be talking to you about movies. I went and saw the new Final Destination film, which is in theaters right now, and we are getting ready. We are holding onto our butts. We are strapping in. We're plugging up because the new Mission Impossible is coming out.
I don't like strapping followed by plugging.
Dude, think about strapping and plugging, man. It's because we're ready for action. That's what's up. Mission Impossible comes out this week.
Oh,
dude.
it's already?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh.
Right?
I'm skipping lunch on Friday to go pick up that popcorn bucket with the 2 keys from the submarine.
That's right, because we gotta make sure that the virus, the AI and the virus and all the things, all the tie-ins. Like I don't know if you watched that. There was like an article or like a video talking about how the Mission Impossible movies, they never, they don't have a script when they start filming. It's just like Tom Cruise is like, you know what? I want to jump off a helicopter into its blades and then run off into a motorcycle, off a cliff, into a valley with a parachute that gets on a train.
And then they figure out the story to make those stunts happen?
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And they somehow still do it. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to run. I'm going to jump off this thing. I'm going to break my ankle. I'm going to keep running. Doesn't even matter because Scientology, level 7, I've got the power.
Oh, yeah. Who can forget that Tom Cruise leapt off that building onto another building, broke his ankle like severely, and then continued to run to finish the shot.
He's like, this is the one. This is the shot.
Legend.
And, say what you will about that insane person.
That's a joke.
But my God, is it fun to watch on screen. And in terms of action movies, and I will die on this sword, I know people that are like, oh, their movies are so stupid. I'm like, as an action movie, as an action franchise, Mission Impossible, dare I say, as close to perfect as an action franchise can get.
Dude, also just completely unequaled. Mission Impossible movies are so good, and I don't think there is a bad one of the bunch at all.
And
like, there's some ones that are different, but there's not a bad one.
And when you objectively look at Mission Impossible films like, don't compare them to horror or thrillers or suspense or drama. Like, in the pantheon of action movies, Mission Impossible sets the freaking bar in terms of what you should expect from a quality action film. And you can't compare genres apples to apples, right? All genres are different. I love I love art films, I love horror films, I love drama films. I love all of these different styles of films for very specific reasons. And there are reasons that I love action films, and Mission Impossible checks every one of those boxes every fucking time.
Yeah.
Every time.
It never misses. Even though the last movie was not the box office success that it should have been, it was a very good movie.
It's a very good action movie.
Was excited throughout it. And when it ended, I was like, oh, damn it.
I want more.
This is where they ended it. And then I've had to wait until now. And you remember when these movies got delayed, Mission Impossible and Top Gun, and everyone's like, probably going to be poop movies. They're just going to be total turds. No. They delivered.
And the reason it delivers is because Tom Cruise is a psychopath. And
in the best way.
In the best way. And, this guy cares so much about making movies that you have to commend his insanity. Like, I don't have to like his politics. I don't like to even like him like as a person. But
I've never heard anyone say anything. Anyone that's known him as a person, I've not heard anyone say anything bad about him.
He's a Scientologist, therefore he's crazy.
Yeah, but anyone that's been on a movie with him is like, dude, I cannot tell you how nice of a guy he is.
I don't know. What was her name that he was married to?
Oh, well.
She probably speaks otherwise.
Well, and that one guy that got yelled
Katie,
at in the last Mission Impossible movie for breaking the COVID protocols, though, and everyone's like, I can't believe Tom Cruise yelled at that guy. It's
Mission Impossible 5, COVID protocol.
Yeah, but he just shut down like 200 people's
Katie
jobs.
Holmes. Yeah, Katie Holmes.
Like 200 people's jobs just got ruined because one guy was like, screw this mask for today.
But
or whatever.
I don't have to like him as a person to love the movies that he, like Top Gun, the Maverick, on paper, it should have been a shit movie. Like, just contextually, it should have been trash. But with as much attention to detail and realism, because a movie like that, the reason that I go to the movie theater to see a movie like that is to watch the spectacle and the movie magic of its creation. It's to go, how the did they do that?
Well, and it's one of the only movies to
did
get the legacy sequel / nostalgia bait right. Because it was like, y'all like Top Gun? Here's some more Top Gun. And you're like, oh, come on, man. But then they did it so well.
Well, so James on Facebook says, love the art, maybe not the artist. That's something that if you go back and you, and I guess Velvet Santa, who's on Twitch, he's our resident like archivist who goes back and listens to old episodes of our podcast more than we do. He could probably agree that for years, one of the things that I've said on many, many, many episodes of the Drive-In Speaker Box is that I think that it's really, really important to be able to separate art from the artist, because a lot of artists are very troubled people, and because they're troubled and because they're bringing they are outliers in our society, and creators tend to be odd folks, and I think if we start to put the microscope on a lot of the creatives in our world, we'll find things that we don't like. Like, I'm pretty certain with all full confidence in this statement that every member of the Beatles have done some heinous things that they probably should all be in jail for. But we can collectively go like, the Beatles are cool, and...
I don't know that George Harrison did anything.
In a time of which they were teenagers with infinite wealth, infinite power, and infinite punani being thrown at them at every angle.
Or that Ringo's ever done anything wrong?
They did.
Dude, Ringo's just killing it. Happy to be there, just being the best technical drummer to have ever lived, kind of a thing.
And you think like all of these, like Plato and Leonardo da Vinci and all like all of these people, like popes. I mean, you put infinite power and infinite like wealth and authority in the hands of crazy creative people, they're gonna do something stupid. They are. We've all done bad things. We've all made bad choices. So you gotta stop and go, you know what? Harry Potter is an amazing exploration in the concept of friendship and magic, but J.K. Rowling can suck my balls. You can say that, like, we can live in that world. What is John Milius or whatever that did Conan the Barbarian? Like, Conan the Barbarian is a masterpiece of filmmaking, but that guy can burn in a dumpster fire. Like, what's another great example that we've used before on the show? The guy that did Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski has like Rosemary's Baby, Pirates, masterpieces of cinema, but fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Woody Allen, another great guy. Amazing movies that will transcend time in terms of cinematic auteurism, but that guy is a piece of shit. And so the list goes on. Like, you have the guy that John Kay, the guy that did Ren and Stimpy. Yeah,
I never heard that.
John Kay's a piece of shit. Ren and Stimpy and his art style,
I think
is
if you
really
watch a lot
good.
of Ren and Stimpy, that might have been a clue, maybe. But
we cannot. The byproduct of our hyper obsession and access to constant information is the fact that we get to put artists under a microscope. And so now, in the crossroads of the technology age, we don't have the luxury of separating art from artist. And we kind of have to, because when you put an artist under the when you put any human being under the microscope of celebrity, you find things you don't want to see. Because every single person, I swear to God, every person, if you want to take this into a Bible verse, we are born into sin. We are born as flawed creatures, and we've all done things we're not proud of. I know I have. I know Jake's probably going to go, I don't want to be brought into this conversation, but I know that I know we all have. And so, but we're not put under that microscope in terms of celebrity. And, I think that it's very important as consumers of media and consumers of art to be able to draw that line and say that my enjoyment and my appreciation of this art as being good art or good architecture or good cinema or good whatever the fuck it is, we can appreciate that for what the value of that holds as a cultural relevant item, and not have to go, my appreciation for this is also celebrating this person. I think you can keep those separate. And it's the same, like our founding fathers, pretty much every single one of them owned slaves. Does that mean this country's just needs to be set on fire? I'll agree. That's bad. That was real bad. But, we're here now, and we can appreciate the country that they built, but I don't have to be like, hell yeah, George Washington, go, hey, what a perfect person. No, fuck that.
Well, you're so far off the rails.
No, I'm saying separate art from artist. That's the point. That's the point.
You know what?
The point is Mission Impossible fucks.
Mission Impossible is coming out, and that's amazing. You know what? Talking Tom Cruise and legacy sequels like we did a minute ago, I saw an article that showed rumblings that a Cocktail sequel is in the works. I don't know how that one's going to work.
Because one of the main characters killed himself at the end of that movie, and the other one went on to witness that death and go, maybe not.
Also, A Days of Thunder.
Okay, hear me out on the Cocktail movie. I'm going to rewind because I love Cocktail. I love that movie. Elizabeth Shue, Tom Cruise, that Australian guy. That movie is so campy and so dumb, but so accurate to a period of time. And as a person who watched that movie as a child and decided maybe I want to be a barman one day, and now am, I can tell you that movie has a lot of fact into it. But I think if they're going to do a sequel, there is a lot of bar culture that they could reference if they do it well.
Like I said, it was rumblings. I don't know that that's going to happen. I imagine the Days of Thunder one is
the Days of Thunder one's got a bigger market,
more serious. Though, I mean, I don't know how that one would work either. I mean, maybe he's the team owner now or something. Who knows?
Well, speaking of accurate continuations of stressful situations like cocktail bars and NASCAR racing, the Bear Season 4 trailer dropped. And Hulu is continuing on with the ultra triggering, ultra stress inducing series of The Bear. I don't know if you saw that trailer, but
No, but I've never watched. I haven't watched it.
have you ever worked? You've never worked in a restaurant.
Yes, I have.
Which one? When did you work in a restaurant?
I worked at a Steak and Shake. I was a dishwasher, and then I worked for Chartwells as inventory and stock and stuff like that. Yeah.
The Bear, man, if you've ever worked, and because you have worked in a bar, like if you've ever worked in food service or hospitality, like The Bear is some triggering shit. Like it is so accurate. So I'm looking forward to season 4 of that. Also, a Zootopia 2 trailer dropped. I was on record saying how much I did not like the first Zootopia, but it's going to make $1 billion anyway. So,
sure, yeah.
Zootopia.
Zootopia was just fuel for Rule 34, so fuck that movie. You know what? Before we move too far away from The Bear,
Night Owl Schlitt.
The Jeremy Allen White, his Bruce Springsteen biopic has gained its release date, which is going to
Is that going to be banned by the government because our president has decided to do a deep investigation on Bruce Springsteen? Because,
What?
Have you not read this?
No.
So there was.
I don't have time to keep up with all of the insanity that is the Orange Man.
Speaking of Bruce Springsteen, at a concert recently, it has gone viral on like TikTok and Instagram, where Bruce Springsteen at this big concert, he sat down and like spoke for the freedom of speech. He's just like, there are things going on in our country right now that that really, as a person who was born in the USA.
Is that why Trump doesn't like him? Because he's like, was he really born in the USA?
Well,
like
so-
investigate his papers.
So this piece of social media is flying around the internet of Bruce Springsteen going, we need to protect our rights to free speech. Even he's like, as a person that loves this country, that means we also need to fight for the values of this country. And then immediately, like 2 days later, Trump is writing an executive order to do a deep dive investigation on Bruce Springsteen and his illegal, like, it's so
Is that real?
insane.
Because
yes, it's totally real.
The rampant abuse of an executive order and the wild redefining of what an executive order can be and what it does is just so insane and completely out of hand. But we're not a political show. We're a movie show. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen, just a week before Halloween this year is when we will be getting the Bruce Springsteen biopic coming out there. You know what?
Is it called Born in the USA?
It is called, no, I think that would be too much. It's called Deliver Me from Nowhere.
Well, that sounds too much like the biopic that was just out with the Bob Dylan. What was that called? A Complete Unknown?
Yeah.
So it's like nobody, nowhere, unknown. I don't know. This guy with a hanky in his back pocket.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, for sure.
Got my hanky in my pocket.
And you know what? Well, you said something about a new trailer, the Zootopia 2. We got other new trailers for things that...
Welcome to Derry.
Oh, no, I hadn't seen that.
The new prequel series from the Stephen King It universe, which is a series that's set in the 1960s, which I'm not quite sure I'm a fan of because, like, I just think that we just need to keep it where it is. But
doesn't it take place in the 80s? So it's only like a 20-year difference? It's a single generation?
A single generation.
Well, that's dumb because isn't the whole thing about it is that he's been there for a long, like, since, like...
But I think that the problem is that as American viewers, we have to be able to suspend our disbelief into generations we're familiar with.
Because if the original takes place in the 80s and this one's taking place in the 60s, wouldn't the kids in that show's parents be like, oh yeah, no, they're totally real. Stay the hell away from it. Everyone knows about him. Here's the trick. And here's how we survived. It doesn't make sense for it to be that close in time.
And that's where I agree. I think that this is just a way to capitalize on the success of the movies and just to continue to find ways to make to make money.
Okay,
So.
well, that's dumb, and I don't like anything about that. Speaking of things that are dumb and I don't like anything about it, we got another Superman trailer. Last week we got the teaser for the trailer, the pre-trailer trailer, the trailer for the trailer, and now we have the official new trailer. Which also there's a Milk-Bone commercial that has cut together a bunch of the crypto
Oh no!
clips.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but so we got the Superman trailer. You get to see more of Lex Luthor. You get to see some robot or fighting suit that Superman's up against that shoots lasers out of its eyes. It looks very much like the aquatic Zaku's or whatever from Gundam.
Yeah, okay.
The ones with
Yeah, I
the
do.
one and they have like the hand drill claws thing.
Yeah.
The sandy ones, the aquatic ones, like whichever. So, and the new Superman trailer does nothing to make me want to watch the new Superman. I saw somewhere where someone said the fact that Superman is incredibly weak in all of the trailers so far shows that James Gunn really gets the character.
Did you see the edit in the trailer from the early trailers to the new trailers where they edited with CGI like in the trailer?
His wonky eye?
No. There was a scene where he's walking through the crowd and someone throws a can at him.
And his hair blips.
Well, his hair blips and then he blinks.
Uh-huh.
But then in the recent trailer, they edit it where his hair doesn't blip and he doesn't blink.
Okay, yeah, because it is
super lame.
when the guy throws that can and it hits Superman and it's able to just like affect Superman. It's like really an aluminum can can
affect
have
Superman.
an impact on someone who can be like thrown through a planet on one side and find his way out of the other side and keep fighting. So I don't know. The new Superman looks incredibly dumb. And these trailers not helping. Speaking of things in the DC universe that are just dumb, James Gunn online has confirmed again for the umpteenth time what the release schedule is, which is Creature Commandos, which we already have on HBO. It's a cartoon.
And you didn't like it.
Didn't like it. Superman is next, comes out in July. And then we get another season or whatever of Peacemaker. And then the Lanterns HBO show, followed by the Supergirl movie. Sergeant Rock has been eliminated.
When are we getting the Batgirl movie? When is that coming out of the vault?
Give us the Batman Girl movie. As soon as Coyote vs. Acme shows successful on Warner Brothers,
They're going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to bring it back.
We'll see. I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I hope.
We also got new trailers or new still images followed by a new trailer. New still images, a new teaser, and then a new trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. And it gets dumber and dumber every
Jurassic R or wait, Tyrannosaurus D?
time. The D-Rex or whatever it is. It's the mutant thing that was clouded in the mystery room in the previous trailer. Now you get to see a little bit more of it. It's like a T-Rex that it's like the tigers that have like
Do you remember
their muzzle?
What was the movie
The
Cloverfield?
The D.
It looks like the Cloverfield monster.
It does. It really does.
That's because I was like, what does it look like? What does it look like? What?
Yeah.
It's the Cloverfield monster.
So, and they've given us the premise of the movie in the trailer now, which is that it's on a new island, and it's the island where they did
Isla Nublar.
it's the island where they did crazy, weird, extra weird experiments.
The Nazi Nublar.
Yeah, only the reject dinosaurs live on this island, and for however many years, 30 different species have been left on their own to evolve and mutate based on their crazy genetic experimentation. And so now you get the mutant thing that's like a T-Rex combo, because you got to have the combo dinosaurs now.
And one of them is people, because they cloned that girl. Remember when they cloned that girl? No one cares. They
Like
created
me.
a human.
Like me.
I'm like it.
Yeah, and now you have a T-Rex that swims underwater. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You have like the weird winged raptors things now, which we get a peek at in the trailer. They look incredibly stupid. So we have giant mutant Rex dinosaurs of some kind. We have aquatic T-Rexes move over Spinosaur. We got the Spinosaur triplets that chase the boat. We have the Mosasaur that chases
And
the
do
boat.
they have the ones that fart?
Yeah, they have the ass blasters.
From Tremors 4.
Yeah, they have all of the Tremors.
That's how dumb this is getting. It's
Yeah.
Tremors 4 dumb.
Yeah. Well, the ass blasters was from 3. That was when it was still good. Because 2 was the ones that had the heat. They had the heat thing. Because the big worms would split open and they'd have like 3 of
The
the
heat
like
ones
walker ones that
inside,
would have the
yeah.
heat things. And then
The little ones that looked like Station from
and then the 3 is
Bill and
when
Ted.
those developed wings and
And
would
then farted.
poot like Boogerman when he ate the pepper. You know, in
right.
Boogerman when you'd eat the
go,
chili pepper
"Poot."
and you'd be able to fart fly your way across the map. 4 is when it got dumb. But yeah, everything about Jurassic World Rebirth is just reads stupid. Yeah. Quit inventing dinosaurs. There are so many cool dinosaurs.
That already
you don't need to
may or may not existed depending where your politics
This should
lie.
have been a rebirth of like, hey, we're going to fix it, but you're just making it worse. So screw that movie. And also the fact that the Mosasaurus is like larger than a blue whale, and yet for it
Smaller than a boat.
a single human is like, ooh, this is tasty. There's no way that this gigantic creature would waste calories to get an intake from a person that would mean nothing
Yeah,
to it.
ask Jason Statham. He already killed 2 Megs.
Dude. Yeah. So screw this movie, man. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to watch it for you guys, and I'm sorry. I don't know that I can. I love dinosaurs. I like science. I like things like that, and I can't do it. Speaking of things that defy science and logic and anything intelligible, Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
We got our look at Galactus,
Oh boy.
and he looks like
He looks like the comic book.
he looks like the Jesus from Lebowski. What's the name of the actor from?
John
Turturro.
Yeah.
He looks like John Turturro with the mask on.
No one fucks with Galactus.
Yeah. Oh man. Galactus is hard to get right. Galactus is one of my favorite comic book characters.
Like the scale of Galactus. Galactus is bigger than Godzilla. Galactus is bigger than planets. He puts planets into his mouth. That's how big Galactus is.
I think he can scale himself.
Can he scale himself?
Yeah, because he can go walk around on planets and stuff.
But he's still freaking huge. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like his head would be in the atmosphere.
He's left over from the universe that existed, the galaxy that existed before. Like
Right.
he ate the whole thing, and it was
He's a
reborn.
celestial, right?
Yeah, he just goes around
Yeah.
eating and consuming planets. That's his whole thing. But I mean, it's hard to make him not look dumb, but he looks dumb. I don't know. Giving him like
Face.
regular person features.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
I
he's
don't-
not a regular person. He's a celestial.
It just, I don't know. So far, the whole thing about the Fantastic Four movie and it being set in the 60s.
Some things do not need to be in live action.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the deal. Some things look real dumb in live action.
Yeah.
We are only, as human beings, able to suspend our disbelief to a certain point in live action.
Well-
Like, that's why animation is so good. Why aren't all these movies not animated movies? They would be so rad as animated movies. I would be still lining up for Marvel movies if they were animated.
That's true. Yeah, if they were good animated. Which, you know what? Something that's going to be live action and is super dumb and doesn't need to exist. We're getting a Rambo prequel
Wait, what?
called John Rambo. And
That's the name of the first one, technically.
No, the first
That's the
one-
name of the book.
The first one is First Blood.
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
second
right.
one is Rambo,
Rambo.
First Blood Part 2. And then the
this is-
third one is Rambo 3. And then the fourth one is called Rambo.
Okay, I thought that one was called John Rambo.
No, the fourth one is Rambo.
Okay.
And then
that's
fifth
the
one-
one with the machine gun thumbs up meme,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
okay.
where he gets on the back of that
Yeah.
and just turns the machine gun onto the two inches away. Yeah.
And yeah.
And then the fifth one is Last Blood or whatever.
Yeah.
And now they're doing a prequel, John Rambo, about him growing up in the 40s or 50s or however old he needs to be for the movie pre-Vietnam.
He would just be a dude. Like, that's the...
Yeah, he's just a kid from a ranch. It was becoming a Green Beret that made him maybe this is him in Vietnam. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Maybe
Don't
it's just him at boot camp.
Don't do it. It's the
just
point.
Full Metal Jacket Rambo.
Just don't do it. Also, Gears of War
I saw that
has
too,
found a
yeah.
director. Not that needs to be a movie.
No, it doesn't need to be a movie.
Also, DC stuff, dumb things that don't need to happen. Someone asked James Gunn about Wonder Woman, and he
A
just
Clayface movie.
he responded with nothing publicly, but it's encouraging. So just dragging people along. Other things that don't need to exist. Spring Breakers is getting a sequel.
Spring Break.
Yeah, more than it's going to be 13, 14 years later by the time it comes out, because it's 12
Wait.
years later right now.
Isn't James
Thanks,
Franco?
Merle.
Isn't James
Who
Franco
knows?
like we can't do?
Who knows
James
if
Franco anymore?
Franco's going to be in it or
Hey,
not?
Merle on Twitch, for those of you that just subscribe to the podcast and do all that stuff, you don't realize that Merle tunes in all the time and is always like, let's do a shot. We've done several. And I'm gonna do one more, just a small little one for Merle, because I'm on shot like number 4.
That was saying that's a good point. If you make the Marvels and you make it look like Alex Ross art, or even the art inside of the like comic books like that, that would be super cool. Or if you like rotoscoped a movie, if you did like a whole AHA movie, but you made it Alex Ross style art, that would be cool. Do Kingdom Come like that. Come on.
All right. Well, okay. We need to tell you what's coming out in theaters this week.
Yeah, last thing is that Daniel Day-Lewis is coming out of retirement.
Of course, because actors do that. Okay. Let's talk about movies that are coming out this weekend, because one of them we already talked about at the beginning of the show, and we derailed for a really long time about it. But May 23rd, 2025, released calendar, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Everything has led us to this point, Ethan. And yeah, it's coming out. We already talked about it at the beginning of the show. Mission Impossible is great. We love it. We can't wait. We're excited.
jazzed.
We're going to get the popcorn bucket. We're going to do the thing. We're freaking jazzed. Also coming out this weekend, Lilo and Stitch live action.
Oh, shit.
Yep. That's also a huge contender to the box office. I mean, that is going to... It's going to really give Mission Impossible a run for its money, because these parents that are going to be like, maybe I want to see Mission Impossible, they're like, well, my kid wants to see a Hawaiian gremlin just go blah, 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 blah. Have you seen the funny re-edits? There's a meme on the internet where they're like, oh, I understand why, as an adult, I now understand why Disney Plus re-edited it, where
They took the Lilo hiding in the dryer.
stuck in the dryer, step bro.
Oh, I thought it was just because child safety.
Sure, that too.
That's... I didn't even think about what you were saying. I'm pretty sure that it was all...
I'm going with the Pornhub theory. But anyway, Lilo and Stitch coming out in theaters this weekend. Also coming out in theaters, kind of from A24, a comedy from A24 with Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd called Friendship. Kate Mara also in this one. I mean, it's Paul Rudd.
I'm going to try and see Mission Impossible and Friendship.
Same. And then I only want to mention it because fuck Neil McDonough. The Last Rodeo coming out. I hope it's his last rodeo. That guy sucks. There you go. That's coming out in probably limited release, but it's Neil McDonough in a cowboy hat, and he can. It's probably wearing stylish out of period piece clothes because he always wants to look good, and he's getting old, and he can blow me. Neil McDonough. Hope it's his last rodeo. But Friendship and Mission Impossible coming out in theaters. Could not be more excited. I think that's going to be great. Okay. All right. You talk about your movie.
Yeah. I can do mine real quick and get it out of the way.
It's an older movie.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
The
Beekeeper.
No.
Wait.
But The Beekeeper's available on like Amazon or
I know.
HBO or whatever. I need to watch it.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, I've heard. So I watched the other one done by the same people that brought you The Beekeeper, starring the same people from The Beekeeper, which is A Working Man. Since Final Destination was really the only new thing we got in the theaters this week, I used it as an opportunity to catch up. I watched A Working Man. It is a Jason Statham movie. I could end the review right there. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It is a
you know
Jason
exactly what I'm
Statham
saying.
movie.
It is a Jason Statham movie, produced by Sylvester Stallone, starring Jason Statham, probably produced by Jason Statham a little bit too. It has him. It has a bunch of like awkward Russian guys. There's a dude who looks like just like one of our friends, a certain Russian person that we are friends with that may or may not have used to have worked for you. They're like, I was like, oh, look. I did the whole, what's his name? Meme.
Oh, from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah. I did that whole thing.
Leonardo
DiCaprio, there it is. I was like growing pains guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's Jason Statham. He's an ex-British Special Forces guy. He works as a construction worker in Chicago, and that only comes into play because the daughter of the construction company is kidnapped and put into some form of human trafficking, and the family begs him to save her, and he has a daughter himself, and so it's his mission now to get her back using his special skills, and so he works his way through the underbelly of crime, from like the bikers that move the drugs to the Russian mafia that creates and provides the drugs to the estranged Russian mafia son guy that does the human trafficking and his friends that make it happen. And he just kills his way through them all. And that's the point of the movie. Not a bad movie. It's very paint by numbers, but not in a bad way. You know what you're going to get. You're not disappointed by it. There's a couple of things that are dumb. You're just like, oh, why did he do that? Or how did he not see that guy? And like at one point, he has this like Bluetooth scoped rifle that he uses to like kill these dudes. And then he just like is like, thanks, gun. And then he sets it on a pool table and walks away. And you're like, why did he just leave the cool gun? It makes no sense.
That kind of stuff. It's all for plot.
It's not really there to make sense. The point of the movie is that you're like, oh my god, these guys kidnapped this girl, and Jason Statham's gonna get him back, and then he does, and you're like, that guy's a rapist, and Jason Statham kills him, and you're like, that's what you get.
Just like Rambo 4.
Yeah, it gives you all of the worry and then all of the satisfaction from the payoff, because you're like, screw that guy, and then they get their comeuppance, except for one dude, so that there can be like a sequel. Very sequel bait. I wouldn't be upset if there's a sequel. It's really not a bad movie.
I mean, it's the Wick formula, and it's Jason Statham.
It's very John Wick. It's very Jason Statham. It's exactly what you pay to see, and you get what you pay. You get what you
signed up for.
Now, the best part of the movie, and what you don't see coming, is that the girl that's kidnapped turns out to be badass. She fights back. She's able, like, she runs away and kind of gets away at certain points.
Taken 2.
And yeah, kind of, but better. Like, she holds her own as best as she can in this situation. Anytime she has an opportunity, she takes advantage, and she does everything that you're like, hell yeah, get it. You go, and you root for her. She's not just some helpless turd. And that's really what the best part of the movie is, that you're like, this girl's awesome. And she fights back. And it makes it where she's not just a damsel in distress, but she's like a full-fledged human. You're like, wow, she really has a good head on her shoulders to think that fast in this situation, get out of trouble as best as she can. And it's a good movie. It's fun. If nothing else, it's fun, and you know what you're going to get, and it pays off with that. So
hell yeah,
good job working, man.
All right, well, in theaters this weekend, or last weekend, Final Destination Bloodlines. I went and saw it. This is a sequel 25 years later from the first film, Final Destination, which came out in 2000. If you guys aren't familiar with that movie, the Final Destination franchise is about death coming back and making sure that the people that are supposed to die.
Yeah, because someone skates death, and then the Grim Reaper is like,
One of the cool things about the Final Destination movies is that you never see death. Like, death is this invisible god hand for most of the movie.
Isn't Tony Todd kind of like the representation?
No. Tony Todd's one of the people that has escaped death his whole life. And you find out in this movie how and why he continues to elude death and be kind of an expert on it.
Okay, because I thought since he was kind of like the mysterious guy, that there was always the question of like, is he...
No, but you find out in this one why Tony Todd is why he has managed to survive so long and outwith death and figure this thing out. And that's what makes this movie so fun, is because it took all the previous movies and in a very clever plot device figured out a way to tie them all together into a bloodline of why all these things are happening. And it ties everything back to a moment in the 1950s where this building that should have collapsed and should have fallen and should have killed everybody inside of it, this one lady had a premonition, just like the one in the original Final Destination, had a premonition but stopped it and was like, oh my gosh. And she basically saved everybody's lives in this one instance in this building that should have been destroyed. And everybody in this building, their bloodlines, and every person that went on to live, to get married, to have a child, to go on, was marked in the order that they died in this moment in time. Death is going back and hitting the bloodlines, and that's Tony Todd was the kid in that situation, and he was the last person to would have died in this premonition. And so he knew that he figured out through all these movies, and all these times, that he was the last person in this premonition to die. That's why he's outlived everybody in all these bloodlines. And so the people that continue to stay alive, once they die, then it's like, all right, death is like, check, moving on to the next one. And so you find out that death for the past 75 years has been sitting here systematically trying to go through, okay, this person died, this person was supposed to die, but that person lived, and they went on and had this kid, and they went on and had this kid, so now I got to kill this person and this person because they should have never existed. Now that I've got them, on to the next one. And so along the way, certain people that have figured out how to elude death prolong the lives of the people down the premonition, right? And Tony Todd was like the last one. And so this takes place as the granddaughter of the girl that had the premonition, who was like the second or third to die in the premonition. She's haunted by these dreams. And the fact that they just like gave it the thought was, number one, pretty cool. But then they fell back into what makes Final Destination hilarious is death is basically a Looney Tune Rube Goldberg, and Death is going around being like, yo dude, so I'm gonna blow some wind at these wind chimes, and it's going to knock a leaf into this bottle, which is going to fall into this lawnmower, which is going to shoot a piece of glass into this propane tank, which is going to leak into this lighter that this dude's smoking a doobie, and his face is going to explode. Yeah. And like,
and that's why it's taken 75 years, because it can't just be like, oh, they fall down the stairs, or like a ceiling fan falls on them.
Right.
Because Death is like, no.
God.
Like, Death has to entertain itself with like, okay, I'll make all these work. And then when it happens, but it's like a second off and it totally misses and the person just doesn't even know, well, he's like, oh.
Well, what's funny is like Death is worried about the legal system. He's like, no, dude, I can't get this shit traced back to me. This has to be like totally, like this has to make total sense.
Complete happenstance.
Complete happenstance. And that's what makes this movie so hilariously fun, is you're watching all of these just insanely diabolical mousetrap situations where it's like, if this penny rolls, falls off, gets sucked into an intake thing, clogs a fan, and the fan is blowing out this exhaust of the cigarette smoke that makes a guy cough, that sneezes, and this napkin flies, and it's the dumbest shit, and then a person's face gets skewered for some reason. You're like, hell yes, Death. And you're rooting for Death the whole time because you want to go, how is this gonna work? And then it does, and you see a person's face get like microplaned in half, and you're like, fuck yes, this is cool. Or you see an MRI machine, like, dude, there was a death in here where the magnetic ability of like a CAT scan MRI device or whatever the fucking like Star Trek tube that detects cancer in hospitals, there was like a a mode that was called like research mode that I guess had the magnetism of, I don't know, the sun, and people's like body jewelry are flying off and like everything's flying. And this dude, he's holding this metal thing and he flies backwards and all this other metal stuff, and he like folds inside out inside of this CAT scan tube, and his little Prince Albert like dick piercing goes and like rips out of his pants. It's the dumbest shit you've ever seen, and you can't stop laughing at how grotesque and silly and dumb all of these deaths are. But you're like, hell yeah, death. Like, you thought, you telegraphed, you're like, I'm gonna rip this dude's dickhead straight off to kill him. And it's the most hilarious series of unfortunate events. And then you're laughing this whole time, and then you have quite possibly the most heartfelt scene of any performance of any actor that you knew died right after this. And Tony Todd, he's emaciated from cancer treatment. He is on his deathbed, and he steps up to the plate for a final performance that his performance is literally about looking death in the face. And like
kind of like a John Wayne the Shootist type
yes
thing.
Yeah. And I'm like getting emotional in the theater, and some of my colleagues that don't know Tony Todd the way I do, they're like, dude, are you like about to cry? And I'm like, yes, because the monologue that Tony Todd just gave, you don't realize that he died 2 months later. And one of the sentences in this monologue is, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the short life that has been dealt with me before death comes and collects. And you're just like, holy shit, because he did exactly that in real life. And it was such a powerful scene in a movie that is so ridiculous, that started with Sean William Scott getting hilariously murdered on a plane. And, you know, these movies have always been about hilarious deaths, and this movie was no different. And I have not had that much fun in a theater in a while.
Sean Williams is in the first movie, right? Wasn't he like a total dick?
Of course, because
like
Sean William
the guy
Scott,
from Idle Hands was like, "Don't get on the plane," and like, this kid's a terrorist. And then the plane just like blows up, and Sean William Scott's like, "Spring break" or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just
Dude, Sean William Scott is really good at playing that asshole. But, you know, from a movie that started in 2000, and the last movie was in 2011, it's been a long time since we've seen a Final Destination film. And this one just picks it up and sticks the freaking landing, man. Like, I was laughing. I literally cried. Like, this was a lot of fun. And it's doing well at the box office. And I cannot believe that a movie that hasn't had a sequel since 2011, that comes up, that most of the people in the theater probably didn't see the first one or the second one. This is a great horror movie, and I'm really glad that I got to watch it, because it was a lot of fun. It was silly. It was campy. It took itself seriously where it needed to. And the best thing about Final Destination as a horror franchise is you never see the big bad, and it still exists in your mind. Like when you,
well, because it's not evil, right?
It's methodical forces of nature. Or religion, if you believe in certain things. It's this unseen God hand that is, you're battling fate, right? And it's not this monster that you can stick with a spear or run away fast enough. It's like, this is the natural order of things, and it's technically not the bad guy, right? And I think that's what makes it scary, is death isn't the bad guy. Death is just doing its job. And
yeah, I am inevitable.
Boom, you know, and I think that's what makes the Final Destination movies work for me as a franchise, is because, man, you're not gonna win, and that's what makes it fun, is how long can you cheat death before death figures you out. And so anyway, it's in theaters right now. It's a lot of fun. I had a great time watching this movie, and I think you will too if you appreciate fun horror movies, or you've seen any of the other Final Destination movies. It's a fantastic sequel to a franchise that got forgotten, and now they're picking up I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't think that's going to be as great of a sequel. But there you have it. So with that, let me turn it back over to Jake to give you the box office roundup for the last weekend, May 16th through 18th. We're going to be the top 10 movies in America. Mostly domestic numbers. We'll throw in some international numbers where we need to. But take it away, Jake.
Yeah, actually, I want to mention number 12, which is a total bummer because in its second week out, Fight or Flight's already down to number 12. Brought in $500,000, so it's only up to $3.25 million. That one's a lot of fun. That one,
I think it's going to do well on streaming.
like the ones we talked about, it's just a fun movie. I bet it will totally take off in streaming. But at number 10, The Amateur, $724,000 for it. 6 weeks out, it's brought in just over $40 million, another 54 across the globe, so just under $95 million total for it. Number 9, Until Dawn, 4 weeks out, $811,000. It's brought in just under $20 million in the U.S., just under 30 elsewhere, so a little under $50 million total
That
for
movie
it.
was doo-doo.
You should not have strayed from the successful video game. Quit making video games your own. It's a fucking living storyboard. Use it. And then above it, at number 8, Clown in a Cornfield. 2 weeks out, $1.3 million for it, 6.35 total so far. And then at number 7, a movie that's not technically out yet, but is Friendship. It's been out for 2 weeks. It's only in 60 theaters. 54 of those gained this past week. 1.4 million brought in by that. It's up to $2 million already before it's
The
wide
fact
release.
that it's only in 60 theaters and is in the top 10, them's big numbers. It's averaging double what the number one movie per theater. That's big numbers.
I think the combination of Paul Rudd and the success
Tim
of
Robinson.
Yeah, I think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson is really going to carry that one because I Think You Should Leave is a big deal.
Are you sure about that?
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why? You sure that that's why?
Sure about that?
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. At opening at number 6, Hurry Up Tomorrow, $3.3 million in its opening weekend. And then at number 5, The Accountant 2. I still need to watch that one. 4 weeks out from Amazon. It's probably going to be on Prime anytime.
Very soon.
$4.8 million for it. Just under $60 million so far. They said that this is actually one of the best Prime releases so far. So it's probably going to be something that sees big success on streaming. 35 million elsewhere in the world, so it's at 95 million so far. Velvet Santa says that I just want to use the zipline. How could you say that?
You're not a zipline guy.
could you say that?
There's no way you'd ride a zipline. I know this guy. He'd be like, "Nah, dude, I'm not getting on that
Yeah,
wire."
that's another I Think You Should Leave thing, though. At number 4, a Minecraft movie, another $6 million brought in by it. 7 weeks out for WB has brought in $416 million, another $513 elsewhere in the world. So $930.7 million, soon to be billions, surely.
Crazy.
And then hanging in the top 3, Sinners, 5th week
Oh,
out.
remember when this was a flop the first weekend? Remember that? You remember that?
You remember? So 5 weeks out, another $15 million, bringing up to 240.6, 244.6 since the weekend, 76.4 elsewhere in the world. So it has more than $350 million.
Hell yeah, dude.
Or right at $350 million. And then at number 2, dropping the top spot, Thunderbolts Asterisk, $16.6 million in its third week, bringing it up to 155.5, another 170.7 elsewhere in the world. It too is at $350 million. So Disney's finally seeing some money from something, and that's probably just going to give us a whole bunch of poop.
Yep.
But then opening at the top spot, taking the top spot, Final Destination Bloodlines, 51.6 million buckaroos for that one. Another 54 elsewhere in the world. So since
Extended
the weekend,
yeah.
the total that it's gained to today is 117 million, and we have a 3-day weekend coming up.
Memorial Day.
But there's
this-
some
this
big
is-
competition.
But this is the only horror offering.
There's Until Dawn, but
I mean,
this is the only one people are going to want to see.
Until Dawn's only in 1,700 theaters.
Sinners is horror.
Sinners is technically horror, but it's also been out for 5 weeks.
That's true.
So I feel like Final Destination.
Something like this weekend, though, is everyone's opportunity. Like, man, I've been hearing about this, and now I'm going to go see it.
I want to go see it. So this weekend's going to be really interesting. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, we got Lilo and Stitch coming in. We got Thunderbolts. We got Final Destination. Sinners is still out there. It's going to be a really interesting box office this weekend. Or everyone's just going to go grilling and barbecuing if the weather's okay. I mean, we need to make another kayak trip is what I'm saying. We need to do a Memorial Day river float, dude. I think it's time. It's been how many years?
I haven't been floating in 2 or 3.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
When did you go float without me?
No.
Because the last time we went was when the flood happened and we had to go rescue.
When I had to rescue you?
No, not me. We had to rescue
there was
Emma.
a time I had to rescue you.
No, not me.
I had
We
to rescue her, and
Emma.
then I had to rescue you. No,
Not
because
me.
you went bonus points on that breath like that, and you tried to get yourself
But
killed.
I made it. Like that game tubing. I'm in there, but I'm down.
We went floating once since then, remember, because that's when we froze. When the rapids came
it
up
was
and
really cold.
kissed the sensitive bits.
I do remember that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, but that's been like 4 years.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to get back on that river, get in them paddles. Like, what are you doing for Memorial Day? I feel like I'm gonna go see Mission Impossible.
I definitely need to do that.
That is gonna happen. Sunday, Mission Impossible. I'm gonna see it.
We're supposed to have Friendship starting tomorrow here locally.
Okay, well, I want to go see that.
I want to see Friendship, and then I got to
I'm
find
gonna
time
go see
to watch Mission Impossible.
I'm gonna go see the Broadway Michael Jackson, MJ.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna go see that tomorrow
If
afternoon.
I had the dollars.
Well, I'm taking my mom. Well, I've got tickets. We're gonna go see that tomorrow afternoon, and then I need to go see Friendship, and then I need to go see Mission Impossible, and then I need to have Friendship on a river. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out. Merle on Twitch says still has a Buffalo voucher from last spring when the storms hit. Yeah, I mean,
The worst part about Memorial Day is everyone's going to hit the river, though.
this is true. That's why you don't go to the Elk, and that's why you don't go to the Mulberry, because those are the two party rivers. And if you want to have a good time with nature,
Illinois, baby.
that's right. That's the primary watershed. Always has water. It might not be as scenic as the Buffalo, but there is a lot less douchebags on there. So little Ozarkian tips here from Nature Boys that hadn't been in nature in a couple years, but used to do it all the time. But anyway, yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in. That's it. That's it for us. That's a show. We thank you for tuning in. We apologize that we weren't here on Monday.
Could not be helped.
And I don't know. We might have to postpone next week's show depending on if we're in nature or what we're doing.
I guess that's true.
It's Memorial Day. We will see. But if you want to find out all the information, get in our Discord. Just go to our Linktree, driveinspeakerbox.com. You can like and subscribe to all the things, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. You can jump into the Discord. You can find all that information. You can follow along at home. You can play the game. You can learn the system. That's how we do it. Merle, thanks for tuning in on Twitch. Everybody on Twitch, thanks for tuning in. Everybody on YouTube, everybody on Facebook, we appreciate you. And everybody that's just downloading this podcast, wherever it is you download podcasts, just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast, and it will be there. Make sure if you are downloading this podcast on your Spotify or Apple or Google or whatever, give us a rating. Rank that shit. Click it. Thumbs up it. Put 5 stars on it. Just do it. It's free for you. It makes a huge difference. So we'll see you next week.
See ya.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.